This is the Halftime Show with Omar Adori on Pulse 95.
It sure is that time. It's the Halftime Show with Omar Adori. I'm your host, covering everything sport, international and local. Hope you're having a fantastic day wherever you're tuned in around the world, whether it's 95 FM, pulse95radio.com, our app, Sharjah Broadcasting Authority, or if you're chilling at home watching us live on YouTube. Hi, Mom. Hope you guys are well and having a fantastic day. Right, on the show today, man, if you were here for the last 6 minutes, she was asking me questions. What a great guest we have for you. Ivana Kolaric is on the show today. Now, what I'm interested about this athlete is the human side, the authoritarian side, the coaching side, the endurance side. I'm spoiling you now for all these flavors, and all that is coming up on the show. So feel free to text me your questions on 4215 Ittasalat or slide up into my DMs at Omar during Instagram throughout the show. And trust me, you're going to want to stay tuned for this. On the only place to be at 3, the Halftime Show on Pulse 95.
This is the Halftime Show with Omar Adori on Pulse 95.
It sure is that time. And finally, it's the Halftime Show with Ivana Kolaric. I was going to say Omar Adori, but you know what? The way she started so far, I'm telling you, there's definitely room for her in the industry. Ivana, how you doing?
Thank you, Omar. Thank you for the introduction.
My pleasure.
I'm so pleased to be here. Thank you for having me today.
My pleasure. My pleasure. I'm really looking forward to picking your brain on a few things. I know we started early already, and it's something I definitely want to do a bit more of. Tell us a bit more about what you do, Ivana. It's very fascinating. The transition from how you went from one industry to another industry, how you also did the coaching, but also the athlete part. Tell us, Ivana. Tell us, what are you doing?
As I already told you before we started the show,
yeah,
I haven't started my fitness journey a long time ago. Let's say 10 years ago, I would say.
Okay.
I was working in a completely different profession 10 years ago. Still was related to coaching, but not fitness coaching.
Languages?
Yes, I studied languages, and my job was boring.
Okay.
To be honest with you.
I like the honesty, yeah.
I was not coaching. I was not teaching. My job was to do the translation for some company, and it was all about business and law, just translating, nothing much, like using your brain in a nice way, but just boring, to be honest. Like, I felt I can't do this all my life. I just want to go outside and be in the nature and be involved into sports, because I was sporty all my life. Yeah. And I've decided to change my profession, move to Dubai.
Okay.
All of a sudden, my life changed.
Yeah.
And I decided to pursue my career into sports. I was already doing sports coaching back home, but it was just a part-time job.
Yes.
And I decided to just turn the page.
Yeah.
And start all over again.
Big page.
It was the best decision I ever made in my whole entire life.
Amazing. So for those that are listening right now and they're in one line of work, but they really want to do something else, your advice to them is?
Just go for it. You have to be brave. Of course, you're always scared of what if. But if you don't try, you will never know.
And that's also a part of what you do, because there's many different coaching styles and there's many different ways of doing things. Are you different as an athlete to a coach? And if so, how?
That's a really good question.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay.
I'm much different as a coach than I am as an athlete.
Okay.
As an athlete, I would always push myself past my limits, probably do some things that I would never advise my athletes to do when I'm coaching them.
Okay. Like? Give me something.
Like, I would go out there, go do the race without preparing myself properly for it, and just go and try. Because I know my limits, and I know whatever happens, I'll endure.
How long has it taken you to know your limits? I'm interested in
years.
That one. Yeah, okay.
Actually, working on expanding your limits is a continuous journey.
Nice.
And you have to really know your body and how much you can push.
Nice.
But with the clients, I have to be a little bit more careful. It seems like you go to the doctor.
Yes.
And you tell him I have a problem. Yeah. And he tells you, oh yeah, I see that. I would recommend you to stay home and rest or something similar.
Yes.
So because in his profession, he doesn't want to tell you, yeah, go ahead and do the exercise. I know you're injured, but yeah, go ahead, do it.
Yeah.
I'm sure you know your limits.
Right.
So I can tell the same to my clients, but I'm not sure if they do actually know their limits. So I have to be a little bit more careful when I advise them.
Yeah.
And it's a journey. I teach them that you will know your limits, but you have to explore them.
Interesting. And now, how is the athlete different to the coach? Because the athlete, you've told me that, you just endure, and sometimes, even though not physically prepared, I'm sure you're mentally prepared. That's something that you do. How is the coach? Now, with the coaching style, do you have more of a humanitarian approach or authoritarian approach?
Humanitarian, definitely.
Really?
Definitely.
Okay.
Maybe to myself, I'm more authoritarian.
Okay.
I'm very strict to myself. But to my clients, it's completely different. So
why?
I think I'm soft inside.
Okay. There you have an exclusive right now. Yeah. She might be tough as nails on the outside, but really she's a softie.
I am. I'm a softie, and I do really care about my clients. And sometimes I'm strict. I used to say I like to give them tough love.
Okay.
So sometimes I'm strict, but I give them a lot of love and a lot of support. I'll be honest, if they're not doing things the right way, or if I want them to do things differently, I'll be strict. Yeah. But I'll still support them.
I like that.
But with myself, I'm always strict.
So there's accountability in what you're saying. Yeah. I really study language. There's accountability in what you're saying, but there's also a lot of empathy.
Yeah, that's right word. Correct.
In what you're saying.
Yeah.
Do you practice that? And if so, how do you practice empathy?
That's also a good question. I think I'm really born with this.
Okay.
And a lot of people are telling me you're really empathetic and you understand people's needs.
Yep.
And coming back to coaching styles, because everyone is a completely different person. And you have to understand whom you're coaching and how you can approach. Yeah. So some people want you to be strict to them with them, but some people actually need this empathy and they need you to understand them. Many times clients tell me, okay, I can't do this today because, something hurts or I have a headache. Or with some clients, I would say like, come on, give me a break. Headache, you can do this. But with some clients, I say, okay, no worries, I understand, just have rest. But also depends on the client. Yeah. So that's why you need to be empathetic. You have to understand how the client will react. And maybe what clients wants you to tell him. Yeah. It's not that I want always them to hear what they want to hear. Yeah. But I will make them feel comfortable with me. Yeah. So when I actually need to tell them what they need to know, but maybe don't want to hear, they will listen to me.
I like that.
Yeah. If that makes sense.
Here's a raw question for you.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you change your sense of empathy depending on whether it's a male or female client?
Oh, I do.
There we go. Now we're talking. See?
I do.
How so? Tell me.
Yeah, I think I'm softer with my female clients.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, with male, I'm not really.
Okay.
Yeah, I give them a hard time.
Okay. All right. There you have it. If you thought that was good, we'll take a quick break and cool down a little bit. Yeah, with Ivana. And we'll be right back after this break. See you in a bit, folks.
This is the Halftime Show with Omar Adori on Pulse 95.
Sure is that time. And if you're behind the scenes on the Instagram Live, you are being spoilt for choice because I'm here with Ivana Kolaric here on the Halftime Show in the heart of Sharjah, like right in the middle of Sharjah. We're here, we're live, and we're doing great things here on the show. Now, Ivana, the questions have been popping off on my Instagram, so I have to start off with our very own fabulous Nadia, who asked a question saying, Ivana, how do you prepare mentally for your endurance races?
It's a long process, and I've been practicing this for many years and before many competitions. Yeah. It's basically on a daily basis. Yeah. Starting from your training. Let's say you wake up and you have to do a training, and let's say you go for a run and you want to do some intervals, and let's say you have 5 intervals. And it's really hot outside and you're suffering a lot, but then you have 5 sets and your brain is playing with you. Oh, it's too hot, I can't be bothered, let me do 3. But that's not good enough, right? If I give up now, if I'm not mentally tough now, I'm probably gonna give up in the race as well. So if I push myself mentally to do these 5 sets, or maybe do 6 sets instead of 5, as simple as that, I got a little bit more mentally tougher that day. And I can apply to that any single situation on a daily basis. And when I come down to the race, I just remember that moment. I remember that Friday morning when I was so tired and I just wanted to stay in bed. And I did 6 sets instead of 5. And I pushed myself. And each day I can remind myself what I did to be where I am now. And when the race comes, I definitely got tougher.
Yeah.
I'm not going to give up. This gives me energy to push myself harder.
We mentioned empathy. We mentioned accountability.
Yes.
The next keyword and the nugget of the day, what is endurance?
What is endurance? Like, you can interpret that in many ways, but endurance for me, it's ability to endure, especially when the things get tough in races. To be able to be comfortable with suffering, and I'm thinking about suffering in the race, or maybe suffering in a daily situation, or if you have a problem, maybe in a relationship or with work, and something is not going your way, but you just have to be able to endure a little bit more until you find a solution. It's just ability to stay strong.
Suffering has a negative connotation. When you say it, it seems like you're embracing it. As she laughs. How important is it to embrace suffering in endurance?
It's very important. It's almost the key ingredient to being successful in endurance sports, being able to embrace the feeling of suffering. So, as I already mentioned, brain plays a crucial role in how you perceive things. So if you perceive this as suffering and you keep repeating to yourself, it's hard, I'm suffering, it's hot, I can't, you're telling your brain, I want to quit. But if you are in peace with suffering, if you just stay comfortable in this feeling, then it's probably not suffering anymore. You get used to it, and your brain just forgets it. And if I keep reminding myself, it's hard, I'm suffering, that's the suffering for real.
Yeah. Interesting. Another question here coming in. When do you draw the line and give yourself a break?
After competition finishes.
Okay.
During the training, definitely no. It's important to have your why you're doing all this, why you're racing.
What is your why?
What's my why? It's very simple. I just enjoy pushing my limits.
Okay.
That's currently my why. It was not always the same. My why changes, actually. Before, at the very beginning, my why was proving myself to my parents that I can do this, that I'm strong enough, that I can win races, even though I haven't competed as a child. But that why can change. Yeah.
Is it a matter of now, rather than proving your parents wrong, you're proving yourself right?
Well, let me rephrase that. Proving myself right. Well, that was second stage, I guess. After I proved my parents, then I proved myself. Yeah, it's true. But now it's definitely no proving to anyone.
Yes.
That doesn't exist anymore. I just like going out there and exploring what can I achieve.
Yeah.
And I'm enjoying it very much.
I like that. How tough is the world's toughest race?
Oh, yes. The world's toughest race was very tough. I'll just introduce the listeners to what world's toughest race was.
Yes.
This was an expedition race, which is a multi-day event that includes multi-sports.
Okay.
It was around 673 kilometers.
Wow.
It happened in Fiji in 2019. And I participated at that event with a team of 4 plus one more team support member. We were representing UAE.
Nice.
So we were, it's an adventure race basically where you have map and compass and you have to navigate your way from checkpoint to checkpoint doing different disciplines. So we had a lot of water sports like outrigger canoe, stand-up paddle, canoeing, white water rafting, running, hiking, mountain biking, climbing. It's a lot of fun, but it was a long and tough event.
Which was the toughest part and which was the easiest part?
Toughest part, there was no easy part, okay?
I was waiting for that, yeah.
There was no easy part.
Yeah.
Toughest part is staying awake.
Okay.
And at certain moments, it was hard to work as a team.
Yeah.
Because it's 4 people, different dynamics, different sleeping patterns.
Interesting, yeah.
So,
how does that work when you're doing it for that long?
Well, it doesn't work. You have to endure.
That's crazy.
Well, you sleep obviously, but not enough.
Yeah,
and it's a long day out. Let's say one day we were paddling for 24 hours, just being on the ocean.
Wow.
And paddling all day. It's repetitive, and you're losing your mind many times.
Yeah.
But it's really fulfilling in the end. You do suffer, but after you finish, you want to do again.
You said losing your mind, and we know that the mental side of endurance is so crucial. How do you disconnect in order not to lose your mind?
You have to be present and focused in the moment.
Okay.
You just have to be connected to yourself all of the times.
Yeah.
When you race, you have to have touch with yourself. You can't go away somewhere where you're not connected to you.
Yeah.
I talk to myself a lot during races, and I just keep questioning myself, how do I feel when I'm racing? Am I feeling all right? Just checking with myself mentally, am I feeling all right?
Yeah.
And I give myself a lot of support along the way.
Self-talk?
Self-talk, a lot.
Yeah.
And it's literally as if I'm talking to myself as a child.
I like that.
Yeah.
The inner child.
Inner child, definitely. I do that a lot.
Okay.
I find it a perfect way for myself to encourage myself. I don't give myself negative talk. But just being present and focused on how you feel, how your inner self feels. Because if your inner self starts whining and giving you kind of child behavior, you have to cut that. And you have to give it love.
Wow, you've stripped off a layer of that onion right now.
Did I?
Yeah. Well, now we're talking. I told you this was going to be. I'm going to give you one more question before I take a break, because I can ask you about 10 more questions. But Kieran has been listening really well, and she's actually said, how important is it to be around supportive people when you are trying to achieve a goal? And what do you do when those close to you aren't supportive or a positive influence?
That's a really good question, Kieran.
Yeah.
I've been in situations where I was surrounded by people who actually didn't understand my need to dedicate myself to fitness.
Yeah.
And sometimes this journey of being an athlete is really hard because you have to dedicate time to your training, and sometimes you don't find enough time to be with your friends, or your friends are doing different activities, and you're the one that, I have to go home, sleep early.
Yeah. And
I've been in a situation where I had friends that didn't understand that, but unfortunately I had to disconnect myself from those friends, and in the end I figured out that they probably were not my friends because they couldn't understand. It's very important to be surrounded by people who understand why you're doing things that you're doing.
With the right energy.
Yeah, with the right energy. And that's what I'm coaching my athletes. Only positivity. You have to be positive. Always.
I like it. Right. Okay. We'll be right back stripping more onion layers with Ivana Kolaric right after the break. Here's the news. Don't go anywhere. I'm telling you. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. See you in a bit, folks.
This is the Halftime Show with Omar Adori on Pulse 95.
It sure is that time. It's the Halftime Show with Omar Adori. I'm your host, covering everything sport, international and local. If I'm thinking about key words here with the fantastic guests that's in the studio, so far we've had empathy, accountability, endurance, inner child, and that's just us getting warm. I feel like there's a lot more. There's one more I'm going to add to her arsenal, and yes, I use the word Arsenal, which is my team. Ivana, how do you reset?
How do I reset? I like doing meditation.
Okay. What kind of meditation do you do?
It's just, I would call it transcendental meditation.
Nice. Okay.
I'm trying my best to do it every morning.
Yeah.
Just helps me reset my mind, get focused for the day, get myself into a nice mood.
Nice.
I think it's really powerful tool.
Yeah, it is. And does that involve breath work as well?
No.
Just guided meditation?
No. It's actually not guided. It's just trying to focus on nothing.
Yes. Yeah.
It's really hard, but that's why I think it's best way to do it in the morning, because your mind is blank. In the evening is a little bit harder. I tried in the evening, but it doesn't work.
Yeah.
I'm still a beginner in it.
Yeah.
But it's just I do breathe when I do that, because breathing gets me into focusing on nothing.
Yes.
That helps. But I just did it myself. I didn't go any.
Can you hear yourself breathe?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
And then slowly, you just forget about it.
And do you do it seated or lying down?
I do it seated.
Interesting. See, now I know a little bit about that. That's why I'm picking your brain on it. How long have you been doing that for?
Probably a year or so. Sometimes I do it every day. Sometimes I'm in a hurry, but I'm not happy when I not do it. Like I remind myself, I didn't do meditation this morning. I should do it tomorrow.
Is it a game changer for you?
It is.
Yeah.
I also do a little bit of a diary in the morning.
Okay, journaling.
Journaling in the morning.
Nice. Is that a gratitude journal? Is that a normal journal?
It's just a normal journal.
Okay. I'm sure it involves gratitude in there somewhere.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. I practice that more on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Not really writing it down, but just thinking about there's always one thing that I want to be grateful for that day.
Yeah. Very interesting. Okay.
It's a morning ritual.
Yeah, I like that. Disconnect is one thing. Digest is another thing. I'm just throwing things because I'm taking advantage of you being here. Okay.
Thanks.
Disconnect. When I say disconnect, what comes to mind?
Disconnect. Probably just go out and run.
Okay, yeah.
In nature. That's my way to disconnect.
Okay. When I say digest, what comes to mind?
Digest. Process things that happened that day, probably, if I need to digest them. Sometimes going over the things that happened in a day, if there is something important that happened. And maybe that helps me be more empathetic, because I digest what I've been, the conversation I had during the day with people.
Yeah.
And maybe digesting and dissecting things helps me being empathetic, just understanding people from different views.
And when I say what she said, what comes to mind?
What she said. Oh yeah, that was an amazing show, if I can say in that way.
It was at the W Dubai, the Palm Hotel.
It was recently, maybe a month ago, or less than a month ago.
You were there with two Amnas and Raha, right?
Yes, amazing guests. It was such a nice event. It was about women in sports.
Yes.
It's a topic that it's not mentioned as often. And these three women are really, really inspiring. And it was so nice.
Four women.
Okay. Let me take the credit.
I'm not going to forget you as well. Yeah, go on.
Thank you.
Okay.
It was so nice to hear their stories.
Yeah.
And also connect to them, because I probably share my stories with other people that are not athletes, but when I hear it from the athlete as well, and from people that have kind of similar stories, then I was like, okay, but I'm not the only one. Yeah. It's so nice. So we had a lot of things in common, even though we're doing things in a different way, and different things as well.
I like that. How important is it for women to focus on performance and not aesthetics?
I think that's really important, because as women, and maybe I had this issue before in past, you think it's important to look good and aesthetically look good, and maybe sometimes don't do the exercises because they are male exercises and they're good for your performance but not really good for your looks.
Right.
And when you overcome that, then you realize that aesthetics is actually not important. It's just a burden that you carry with yourself. It's not important.
Yeah. Because I've had the pleasure of working with many female athletes.
Yes.
One of the things that sometimes when we listen as coaches, that comes up is body shaming.
Yeah.
How important is it to be able to talk about body shaming to avoid neglecting it?
I think it's very important, and it especially has to come from us women. If we have a positive talk about body image and stop doing body shaming, if it comes from us and we open eyes to other women, then it's not going to be anymore an issue.
Yeah.
Because I see that a lot with my clients. It's a thing that if you're not satisfied with your body, you can't do something.
Yeah.
Because of your body shape or X, Y, Z. I think all women are going through the same at certain stages.
Yeah.
Some deeper insecurities. I think it's not easy to deal with this, but we have to be really open and encourage women that size, shape, scale
doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter at all.
Love that. Love that. And there you go. See, guys, I told you. She's good. She's very good. We'll take a quick break and we'll be right back after this, folks. If you have any questions, keep them coming in. We've still got one more segment coming up and we're almost at full time on the halftime show. See you in a bit.
This is the halftime show with Omar Adori on Pulse 95.
I'm gutted it's almost full time on the halftime show. It's a different vibe today. It's a nice, chilled, I think that's because of my guest, very chilled, kick-back vibe. You can hear her smiling and crack up in the background as well. Ivana, I have to say thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been terrific.
Thank you, Omar. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for being such an amazing host.
Thank you so much. I'll take that compliment. I like it. Before I let you go, do you have anything coming up or competitions?
Yes, I do. I have a 100-kilometer ultra race, trail race in Chamonix.
Okay.
I'll be running through the Alps, through Italy, Switzerland, and France.
It's you know what's really refreshing when I hear you say that? She says it so casually. You know, I'll just be running through the Alps. Just 100 kilometers. Yeah, might pass by, say hello. You know,
it's enjoyable. It's in the nature. It has to be enjoyable, right?
It's because you do what you do, which is what makes it remarkable. And also, where can our listeners follow you?
Oh, yes. They can follow me on Instagram. My Instagram account is Ivko, IVKO _fitness. And yeah, that's it. Amazing. Guys, make sure you follow her. I've recently followed her as well. Really, really nice person as well in person. And also stay up to date with what she's doing. I'm sure she will be casually running through the Alps and probably updating you how she's doing. If you liked the show and the episode, guys, remember on our YouTube channel, on Pulse 95 Radio, the episode should be out. There's been a few issues at the moment now, but once we get that up and running, I'm sure you can catch her show there. It's going to be great. And also make sure you support her and follow her. You've been terrific. I've really enjoyed having you on the show. Thank you. Likewise.
Guys, every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, 3 to 4 UAE time, you can catch us. And of course, they always turn into podcasts as well. So on Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, we have the episodes on there. That's full time on the halftime show. Where's the whistle? There it is. Hala is saying, brilliant episode. Well, I couldn't do it without my guest, Hala. Thank you very much. Who's tuned in from Saudi. And Nadia as well. It was absolutely inspiring watching her speak at the event, which is 100% correct. This is the Adhan prayer for Asr. Take care, guys. We're out.
If you liked this episode of The Halftime Show, drop a like and subscribe.
95.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram for all our daily updates and top stories.